How's it going, guys? It's the Big Sleigh Pumpkin, and it's that time of year again when Spirit Halloween decides to drop literally every single animatronic in their entire lineup on us without any warning whatsoever, and I do my best to speed up as fast as I can and cover all of it for you guys. So that's exactly what we'll be doing in today's video. We'll be taking a look at each and every animatronic they have released this year, because this appears to be the entire lineup. And when I have to say, overall, right off the bat, this is actually a pretty solid year. There are definitely a few stinkers in there, as there are every year Spirit Halloween, but I have to say this year's probably on par with last year in the general overall quality, so that's definitely a good thing. So I'm really excited for this one. There are a few I absolutely love, there are a few I hate, but overall I have to say it's pretty decent. So let's jump right in.
Yum, yum, yum! Sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's not. One thing I'll tell you though, it'll do more than rot your teeth out.
Our first animatronic is Cotton Candy Dan, and I know a lot of you guys are expecting me not to like this one because it is a big, kind of goofy monster clown, and typically I don't like those, but honestly, I'm actually a really big fan of this one. Cotton Candy Dan is really damn cool. Let me start off with my positives. I think the animation here is fantastic. He has a lot going on, from the mouth movement to where he's actually moving the pole from back to forth, and of course that great jump scare. I really love the jump scare here. It works very well and it's super unique. I also love the head design inside the cotton candy bucket. I mean, that thing is pretty freaky looking, as well as the clown face here. It is a very unique designed clown face. I don't know whether I really love it or not. I definitely don't hate it though. It is super unique. It's very skeletal looking, which I feel like is kind of a hit or miss, but I do feel like it's definitely hits here, I would have to say. I like the red hair as well. The clothing on the clown is perfectly alright. It's very basic. I kind of wish he had some cotton candy on his clothing as well. It feels a little bit too clean, but other than that, I just think it is fantastic. Overall, a really cool design for this guy. Another positive would have to be the voice. It honestly sounds a lot like Mark Hamill. Definitely not Mark Hamill, but it does sound like him a little bit. Now for the negatives, I think the phrases are a little bit goofy, yes. I mean, it's kind of expected for a prop like this. And the fact it's a clown, which I know I just said a whole bunch of positive stuff about the clown part of the prop itself, but honestly, I really would have liked to see a carny type prop here instead of a clown. I feel like the carny would go better with the cotton candy bucket and obviously fit the carnival theme. It kind of feels a little bit incomplete without the carny, and there is no carny prop this year, which is kind of a shame. But overall, I have to say, Cotton Candy Dan is definitely a fantastic clown animatronic. Probably one of the best clown animatronics they've released in the past few years, I do have to say. I think he's pretty on par with Two Scoops, I have to be honest. But overall, I think he's great, a great jump scare, and certainly a very unique looking clown. Our next animatronic is Max Straw, our Spirit Halloween scarecrow for the year, and originally I was not looking forward to this guy one bit, because in that little teaser we got, the tiny glimpse of the face we got looked a lot like Night Stalker, and when I first saw this guy's full image today, I was really not feeling it either. I was definitely getting a lot of Night Stalker vibes from this guy, and all he does is really move his head from side to side, and originally I was not enjoying this guy one bit. But don't kill me yet, because honestly, he's grown on me a lot. Now, he definitely isn't my favorite prop of the year by any means. I still don't think he's the best scarecrow, but honestly, he is a good prop. I'm not going to throw any hate this guy's way because I do like him. I definitely think he's a solid prop. So let me start talking about what I actually like about this guy. For one, I love the floating effect going on here. It's pretty cool. I like how he's holding on to that big pitchfork there. It looks awesome. And the floating effect is pretty solid. This is definitely some sort of ghostly scarecrow. Not the typical realistic looking scarecrow we always see. I do like the floating effect. It adds some uniqueness to the scarecrow character as well here. The face is also super, super unique. I don't think I've seen any scarecrow that's looked like this before, but honestly, the face doesn't necessarily work all that well for me here. I am more in tune with the traditional looking scarecrows, but I think the uniqueness here is definitely a thing that's a positive. It just doesn't work too well for me. I do like how he's sort of the scarecrow monster, or how maybe the burlap on his face is just a mask and there's some sort of pumpkin monster under there or something. I don't know. The eyes kind of suggest that a little bit with the orange skin underneath. But overall, again, I think this is a really cool looking face. For the animation, he just moves his head from side to side. And to be honest, I don't really know what else he could have done since he is kind of in this floating position here. There really isn't too much else you could do with that. So overall, I have to say this guy's pretty good. He's under $200. It feels like Spirit Halloween is introducing a bunch of budget props this year, or at least a few props that are under $200, which I like to see because I'm so used to the huge prices on this stuff. So having a few under $200 is definitely welcome. So overall, I have to say Max Straw gets a thumbs up in my book. Not a double thumbs up, but a thumbs up.
My friends are going to show you a scary good time.
Here is the Ringmaster. This seems to be Spirit Halloween's headlining prop this year, and for sure is the mascot or leader of the carnevil, which I think is really cool that they managed to work a prop into the theme so well. I don't think we've really seen that before. But before we get into my thoughts on this guy, I just want to apologize because 4 or 5 of the animatronics don't have their full videos out yet. I don't understand why Spirit Halloween does this. We get their webpage with the full description of what the prop does, all the photos, but no full video. Doesn't make sense to me, but unfortunately this guy is one of them without his full video yet, so we'll just have to work off the images and the description and stuff. But anyways, let me start with the look of this guy. I am beyond happy this guy's not a clown and a human instead. I really love that. That is absolutely the best decision they could have made with this guy. I'm really happy they didn't cave into the clown pressure and made this guy a clown. I'm so happy he's a human. And I think the human face they gave him was fantastic. It looks super detailed. I love the mouth animation he has. It looks so realistic. A very good looking face for sure here. As for his clothing and stuff, it is definitely the typical Ringmaster fare, which I like a lot. For his animation, of course, I mentioned the mouth movement, which is nice, but this is really cool. So what he does is he will tilt his head up, he'll kind of pull his overcoat back to one side a little bit, and there's a projector with a skull and souls and stuff like that lights up his whole chest and basically projects these images onto his clothing, which is such a cool idea. This one's really creative, really unique, and I love how they added that little extra sort of flair to him. If it was just a basic Ringmaster prop, I would have been okay with it, but the fact they made him super unique with that really cool projector technology inside of him, that's never been done before. So this is a really unique and very cool prop, and who knows, if it actually ends up looking really cool, again, we don't have the videos, maybe they could do that on more props. I think this could be a really cool sort of gimmick in the future. Anyways, I actually really love the Ringmaster, and I think he's a great animatronic. Our next animatronic needs no introduction at all because it is, of course, Michael Myers. The millionth Michael Myers animatronic we've seen. This is the first animatronic I'll be talking about that I just really do not like at all. It feels super redundant, and I keep asking myself this question, why did this need to get made? It's not like there's a new Halloween movie this year. It's not like this Michael Myers is even based off the new movies. It seems like it's a mix of Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O by the looks of the mask. It's very strange, and it just feels like a drop in the bucket compared to all the other Michael Myers animatronics we've seen. It does nothing different to stick out among the rest. The animation is pretty much the same redundant movements that all the other ones have, except it feels very slow and robotic, and this thing doesn't even feature the actual Halloween theme. How lame is that? Not as bad as the Jemmy ringtone Michael Myers, but still, not great either. So overall, there's really not much to say about it other than it just feels like such a redundant prop. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a great seller. Michael Myers, no matter what, is going to be an icon of the holiday forever. So I'd imagine it's still going to sell well despite there being no new movie out. But still, I feel like there's just much better Michael Myers animatronics out there that aren't even that old. And with this, I'm just left asking, did we really need to see this guy again? So here is Giant Death Ray, and obviously this guy is not a death ray of any sort, but an actual living, breathing, biological alien, it looks like. Now, this is Spirit Halloween's first take at what I would call a gigaprop, being a prop that is made to be gigantic in the same style as the 12-foot skeleton. And this guy here is only 10 feet, but still same difference. And I have to say, I think they did a really good job for their first go at it. I mean, it's an alien, so I'm obviously going to love it because we do not see enough aliens. I think they did a pretty good job here. So I'm just going to give my few negatives right off the bat, and then we'll go into the positives. So my first negative is the audio. Now, I'm not sure if the music playing in his video is even going to be the audio for this prop. I don't even know if it's going to feature audio, to be honest with you guys. I'm sure it does, and I'm sure that's what it is, but I'm just throwing it out there that it might not be because I didn't read the description. So I'm not a big fan of the audio, if that is his audio. Secondly, this guy kind of looks more zombie-ish and ghoulish than an alien, which is a bit disappointing. I think his skin should have been a lot more green looking. Same with the fabric covering his body. And I don't think he should have had a nose that's cut off like on his face. I think he should have had like a full alien sort of nose. So those are my main complaints. But other than that, I have to say this guy is pretty cool and definitely very unique. I do like how he has the servo motion in the head. That's cool. And the lights on him are really cool as well. I guess that's sort of the ray part of the prop. I still don't know why they call him Giant Death Ray. It's very misleading. But anyways, I think this is a cool prop regardless. Definitely an interesting looking alien for sure. Not the best alien prop we've seen, but I think it's decent enough. Alright, here we go. I know a lot of you are going to absolutely hate me for this one, but I do not like Bobby Strings. Now, that's not to say he's a bad prop, because I could definitely see how a lot of people will like this one quite a bit, actually. And I honestly think it was so close to being really, really cool in my opinion, but there's just one big problem with it, and that is the face. So I'll talk about this first. This dude literally looks like Pinocchio from Shrek. I mean, come on, that is uncanny, the resemblance. And here's the problem with the face I have mainly. Like, it's fine if it looks like Pinocchio from Shrek, but it's not scary, though. Like, there's nothing scary about the face here. The eyes are big and cartoony. Sure, his eyebrows are a little furrowed, like he's mad at you or something. But other than that, what is scary about this? Like, seriously, I could think of a million more scary-looking faces you could put onto a wooden puppet prop than this stupid, dumb, silly-looking one right here. Keep the body, keep the animation, keep everything, just change the face. You could even keep the hat and the hair, just the face. Change up the face a little bit. This thing looks straight out of a Disney movie, to be honest with you guys. I'm just really disappointed by the face here. The animation's fine, you have the mouth movement and all of his limbs move and pulled up by the mechanism at top, which is really cool. I love how he's hanging from the mechanism. I'm pretty sure they do have him attached to the pole in the back though, so it's not really a free-floating prop, but I think it achieves that look pretty well regardless. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Bobby Strings. Again, I don't think he's a bad prop, and I can see how a lot of people are going to love this guy, but just me personally, I wish they took it the scary direction. Our next animatronic was one of the most generic sounding, being Gravestone Ghoul, and it turns out he is pretty generic for the most part. This is just a simple zombie behind a tombstone prop, and overall I think the detailing is actually quite great here. I do like how the zombie looks, and I do like the tombstone, but the one thing I cannot stand is the animation here. He has this big swinging around motion, and it just does not work well for a prop like this. If this was a simple groundbreaker, then yes, best, this animation would be fine. But for this prop, it doesn't really work. I don't know what they could have done otherwise. Maybe just something a little more of like a simple swaying from side to side, something a little bit slower. But this violent thrashing really does not work that well in my opinion. And it feels more like a Morris Costumes prop than a Spirit Halloween one. So overall, I mean, there's not much to say about this guy. It is, again, so simple. But I feel like sometimes you have to have the simple props, and this one is definitely a good one for the most part. It's a little bit expensive, though. I was definitely thinking this thing should be under $150. I believe it's $175. So yeah, not the best price on this guy. I'm trying to avoid talking about the prices in this video. I really don't feel like that should really reflect on the actual animatronic design. This is more critiquing the characters themselves they come up with. But anyways, again, regardless of the price, this guy is extremely generic, which honestly isn't a bad thing though. Again, like I said, sometimes you have to have the generic props to fill out the lineup, and it's not a bad generic prop at all.
Cross the threshold where the dead walk free. Enter, and in the darkness you will find me.
Our next animatronic, I can't lie, is a very big letdown, being the Cremator. With a name like that, I was expecting something awesome, and what we got is a very generic static animatronic. I know what I said about having the generic props to fill out the lineup, but this is something that they should have really ran with the concept with. This shouldn't have just been a generic cloaked thing. This should have been a really cool Reaper or some sort of awesome flame prop. But instead, they just took the lazy route and gave us one of the most boring props of all time. This shouldn't even count as a generic prop. It's just a boring prop. We have some black cloak with some flames inside of it, holding a skull. Big whoop. There's nothing interesting happening with this one whatsoever. The phrases are generic, the look is extremely generic, and the lighting effects aren't even that cool. Overall, this one is just such a letdown, and I believe they're charging $200 for it, which is a complete ripoff. You can make this with PVC pipe and just a little bit of fabric for maybe $20 at max. Overall, again, huge letdown from this one. With a name like the Cremator, I was expecting something awesome, and what we got was surprisingly very boring.
You caught my eye!
Here is Nibbles the Clown, and what can I say about this guy that I haven't said about every other generic clown already? I mean, seriously, I'm just gonna sound like a broken record. So I'm literally just gonna talk about what I like about it, which isn't much, but regardless, I will. I think the face sculpt here is really nice, though it is just a generic monster clown. It does look good. I do like the fact he has a jester hat on as well. Other than that, I think the color scheme is pretty weird looking. I don't know, there's really only so many things I could say. But one very cool thing about this guy, making him very unique and a standout in terms of the animation from a lot of other props at least, is that he features a motion tracker. So his head will actually follow to where you're walking or moving in front of him, which I think is really cool and a very smart idea. But at the same time, it feels a little bit gimmicky, and I feel like it won't work as well in actuality as it does as we're hearing about it now. But I could be wrong. Maybe this thing is super accurate. But I feel like if you walk past it quick enough, it's just not going to have time for the mechanism to move its head to where you're going. And if there's multiple people in front of it, I could see his head just going back and forth quickly, not sure who to track onto. So I feel like while it's a cool idea, I don't know how well it's actually going to work. And I can't imagine Spirit Halloween put too much time and energy, or whatever company made this, into developing this technology. I feel like they probably just reused whatever Xbox 360 Kinect they had lying around and kind of built it into this guy. But regardless, I feel like that's a cool idea and makes this very generic clown not as generic.
This is the point of no return. Your cries and screams are futile.
If the Cremator was a crappy cloaked thing animatronic, this is certainly the opposite, because here we have demonic Gatekeeper, and honestly, I freaking love this one. This one is really awesome in my opinion. So it's basically just an oversized groundbreaker, and it's pretty simple, all things considered, but there's just something about this design animation that I just love so much. Even the voice is awesome. So start off with the animation. He has mouth movement, which when I first saw his image was a big shock to me, and honestly the mouth movement here is great. He also has this rising up motion, so I believe he starts around 3 feet tall, and he probably rises up to about 5 or 6 feet tall, which is really cool. And as he rises, there's smoke or fog bellowing out of his body, which I think, again, looks awesome. There's also some really cool lighting effects here. In the video, you could kind of subtly see it, but his entire head lights up, I guess, as his body lights up as well. Really, really cool fogging effects and stuff in here. And just the general size of the prop, he looks enormous. He's, again, this oversized groundbreaker, so I'm sure his head is huge, and those hands look absolutely massive. I love when they do big groundbreakers like this, and this one is probably the best one that's ever been done. And I know there's going to be people telling me, oh, well, he's generic. But to be honest, I disagree. I know he's another Reaper sort of prop, and I know we don't need any more of those, that's for sure. But there's something really, really cool about the face sculpt here that I absolutely love. And again, it's like a big groundbreaker, which is a pretty novel concept that really hasn't been touched yet, at least to its fullest extent. And I just really like it overall. And the fogging effects too as well are just so awesome. That's another great detail. I do like fogging props a lot, and this one is no exception. Now, I know I said I wasn't really going to touch on the prices, but this guy's only $200, which I feel like Spirit Halloween is either really fair with their prices this year or really not, because there are some that are just pushing $400, which is crazy. I think anything over $300, you're just getting ripped off at that point. I know you could use a coupon, but still, if you want to get it shipped to you, you're going to have to pay that oversized shipping fee, which is just so stupid. But no, this guy is only $200, which I think is, again, a great price for this guy. Very fair in my opinion, and not what I would expect from Spirit Halloween. So yeah, good price on this guy, good look, good animation. What could go wrong with Demonic Gatekeeper?
With this candle, I will light your way in darkness. With this ring, I ask you to be mine.
Kept your promise. You set me free. Now I can do the same for you.
Our next animatronics, that's right, there's two, because we have Emily and Victor from Corpse Bride. Now, I have to say, right off the bat, these are probably the most accurate looking licensed props of all time, especially when considering it's from an animated movie. They did a fantastic job bringing these characters into real life. I mean, the accuracy here is impeccable. I seriously don't think we've seen a more accurate looking licensed prop ever in the history of anything. These are the two best looking ones. And they also have an incredible range of motion. Each of them features servo movements, blinking eyelids, and I believe Emily herself has a side-to-side motion as well, which is awesome. Just so realistic and so cool. Realistic, of course, in the sense of the movements and how close it looks to the animated movie counterpart, because obviously these are very cartoony looking right here, because they are from a stop-motion cartoon. Anyways, I typically like to judge licensed props off of their accuracy, so these get a 10 out of 10 anyways. I have not seen Corpse Bride all the way through before, which is something I'm planning to do now, definitely. But I have to say, these two look fantastic, and I absolutely love how they managed to bring these two to life so accurately here. Now this here is the only prop we don't have a name or a web page for, which is unfortunate because this one is awesome. And I would love to get a better look at it, but this is all we have for now, so we're going to have to work with it. Anyways, obviously this is a woman with a carved out head like a jack-o'-lantern, which is so cool and morbid. I absolutely love that. I love how they're sort of going for this 50s aesthetic here, like the 50s housewife. It looks really creepy. I just love that. I also really like how she has gloves on as well. That's just an interesting part of it. And the animation, while basic, is fine. Obviously, it's just a simple stabbing motion. I think the creepiness of the face here just really makes this prop so cool and just so strange. Again, blending like a 50s housewife with a horrifically mutilated face is not what I would expect Spirit Halloween to do, but well, here we are. And yeah, this was probably going to be one of my favorites for the year. Definitely going to crack the top 5 for sure. Just such a cool one, and again, I'm really looking forward to seeing some more photos of this one. No. This is unacceptable, Spirit Halloween. You cannot seriously be selling us a prop for $100 that's made by Sunstar. This is ridiculous. I do not accept this. Night Terror is a garbage prop and should not be sold at Spirit Halloween. This is your new low. This is worse than Young Crouchy. Well, maybe I'm taking it a little bit too far there, but it's definitely worse than Johnny Punk. Well, still, maybe I'm taking it a little bit too far. Alright, it's not as bad as those two, but it is still terrible. How could you be selling this? If this was being sold at CVS for $50, it'd get a pass. But you are Spirit Halloween. You are known for having the highest standards in terms of props. At least you used to, but that's all been thrown out the window with this guy right here. You could say goodbye to that prestigious title. I'm taking it away. Night Terror is truly unacceptable. I thought we've seen it all, again, from Young Crouchy to Johnny Punk, even though those two I still think are worse than this one. This is just shocking to see. This is just taking me off guard. Again, I know I said Spirit Halloween is kind of delving into the world of budget props this year, but listen, $100 for this is still way too much money. With that animation, I'd expect it to be at max no more than $75. $100 is crazy. Even $75 is pushing it. You're getting ripped off just by looking at this thing. Now look, I know I'm being extremely harsh and very explosive because hey, it makes good entertainment. But in all honesty, this thing isn't too atrocious. Again, I really think it's just a shock that Spirit Halloween would be selling something like this. And I remember when I first started watching this video and it was just still for a minute and then it started doing that animation, I'm like, no way they seriously gave us a Sunstar prop this year. Now, this guy isn't actually made by Sunstar. It's just using the same mechanism that Sunstar uses. So, yeah, this thing is probably going to break within 2 seconds. But I think the design of this one is very bland, but fine. I do like the face on it. It is just little Jack Carver's pumpkin, just turned black, and I'm assuming a lot bigger the molds than the little Jack Carver's pumpkin was. But yeah, I don't think it's a terribly bad prop. I just think it's bad. Probably the worst of the year unless they give us another young type prop, like another Collector's Minion or Young Crouchy. Those are instantly worse than this, but still, this is not good. Here is the Dark Princess, and I'm sure when all of us first heard that name, we were not expecting the prop to look like this, but I am sure happy it did, because this is probably the scariest prop they've released this year, and honestly, it is just so damn freaky looking, and very unique as well. I honestly think this is going to end up being one of my favorite props for the year. Not my favorite, but definitely one of them. It is just so strange, so creepy. Reminds me a lot of Slender Man and like other creepypastas. There's just something so off-putting about this one. I love it. Now, I did hear a complaint that it kind of feels like a whole bunch of different props thrown together. And honestly, I definitely see that. Like the wings kind of don't make sense here. But to be honest, I just love that. It kind of adds to the prop in a way. I really feel like this is one of the more unique offerings from Spirit Halloween this year. And again, I just love how freaky that face looks. It is so creepy. Now for the animation, obviously this is a reskin of Dagger Mike from last year, which isn't a bad thing. I think Dagger Mike had a very effective jump scare. And honestly, I think the animation fits this one way more than it did on Dagger Mike. Nothing against Dagger Mike. I still think he's a cool prop. But this, I feel, takes it to a whole new level. It's a super great quick pop-up motion, and the prop itself is very large, larger than you'd expect, so that quick pop-up really gets you. So overall, I have to say this is a great one here. The Dark Princess is so creepy looking, and I just love that sinister, hollow, just dead face it has. So damn creepy. Here we have Barnaby the Bear, and all I'm left asking is, what's scary about this one? It's like Spirit Halloween came up with a concept for a prop and forgot to add any amount of scare in it at all. It is literally just a teddy bear balancing on a ball. What does this even have to do with Halloween or horror whatsoever? If they put a Santa hat on it, I could definitely see them selling this as a Christmas animatronic. If it wasn't for the red eyes, this honestly would just be a teddy bear on a ball that you buy for a 3-year-old to look at. There's nothing scary about this one at all. That's what I don't understand about some of these modern Spirit Halloween props. They come up with these concepts that are actually really cool. Like a bear balancing on a ball, like it makes sense for a circus act. And then you could do something really cool and gory with that. But no, they give us just that, a literal bear balancing on a ball, and there's nothing scary included. Maybe if you have a fear of bears, this one will be scary for you, but it doesn't even look like a real bear. Again, it looks like a freaking teddy bear. So I don't understand who this is for or what they were trying to achieve with this one. This one's a complete failure in my opinion. The only thing I can praise is that the animation is pretty cool. It's very unique, the animation, and I guess the prop itself is unique, but it doesn't even feel like a Halloween animatronic. It feels more Christmassy, honestly. This is Towering Tallulah, or just Mr. Dark number 3. I mean, seriously, we had a Mr. Dark reskin last year. I don't think we needed another one, especially not a witch. And honestly, this thing does not look too great. I don't know, Techie has kind of been lacking with their Spirit Halloween witches between the Cauldroness and this thing. I mean, they do not look good, especially this one. I'm not a big fan of this whatsoever. I think the original Mr. Dark is unbeatable, so they should have just brought him back instead of giving us yet another reskin. And honestly, I'm just kind of done with these Mr. Dark reskins at this point. Definitely kind of feels worn out. They all do the same thing, just a slightly different look. And if you're going to reskin something, don't make it a witch, please.
You teach a class about slashers, and you still walked into a dark alley. Alone. Strange that you and I have never spoken on the phone. This is long overdue.
Our next animatronic really needs no introduction because it is Ghostface. And honestly, I am not loving this one. It is, of course, much better than the Hauntress reskin from 2021, but still, I really don't think they nailed it as good as they should have here. My problems lie with the size of the head mainly and the proportions of the body. The head is way too small for the rest of the body, and the shoulders just look so large on it. It's very strange looking. I'll be very honest with you guys. The head should have been a lot bigger, or the shoulders should have been a lot more closer together, because it just looks so weird having such a tiny head on such a big body. Other than that, I don't really have that many issues with it. I think the animation is very robotic, and I don't really know why he does the head tilts. That's much more of a Michael Myers thing to do. I kind of wish he had a jump scare. I mean, he kind of does have a jump scare, but I kind of wish he had a lunge forward motion and then the swinging of the knife. I think that would have been a lot cooler. I do like how you could swap out the mask and the weapon, though I do wish they just gave you the standard white Ghostface mask as well. All you have is the bloody one and the sort of rotten one from Scream 6. And speaking of Scream 6, that's where the audio comes from. Not the best Scream franchise offering, but I think it's fine considering it is the newest movie when this prop is being released, so it makes sense to use audio from that. Overall, I don't want to say this was a failed attempt at a Ghostface prop, but a very meh one. And here we have Wanda Webworm, also known as the best prop from Spirit Halloween this year. Now, I know this one probably won't be for everybody, but it is most certainly for me. I think this thing is awesome and just absolutely insane. I mean, this is like a massive mutant spider, alien creature, whatever you want to call it. This thing is incredible in my opinion, and so unique. That is the one thing, no matter what, you have to admit, this is probably one of the most unique props they've done in years. I mean, what is even happening happening. I wish more props were like this one, just weird, wacky concepts taken to their fullest extent. I mean, this thing is just a crazy-ass insect monster, and I absolutely love it. That face on there is mean-looking. That thing looks like it wants to take a bite out of you, and I think it is pretty creepy and scary. I also love all the different legs and arms extruding from the body, especially how a few of them move. I think at least 4 of them look like they move, which is awesome. Of course, you have that mouth animation as well, which looks very violent. That mouth opening looks crazy. And overall, I have to say, this is easily my favorite of the year. This thing is so wacky and so awesome, and honestly, pretty damn scary. So overall, yeah, Wanda Webworm is my number 1 for this year. And finally, just because I know people will be upset if I don't talk about these 3, we have the returning animatronics. Now, the only thing I could really say is new here is it appears Twitching Banshee has a new face mold, which I really am split on whether I like this one or the old one better. I don't know. But anyways, these 3 really did not need to come back. Twitching Banshee's a wholesale prop now. Creepy Town and Clown, I believe, is also a wholesale prop. And Cerberus is back every 2 years. So really, this is probably the worst lineup of returning props Spirit has ever given us. I mean, again, nothing against these props, because honestly, I like them all quite a bit. It's just like, why do these need to come back? It's so unnecessary. So with that, everybody, that's it for all these animatronics. Well, after 35 non-stop minutes of rambling about Halloween animatronics, I think you all owe me a like. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far into the video. I really, really appreciate it. And let me know which animatronic is your favorite in the comments below. Again, I think this is actually a pretty solid year. Like every year, there's always going to be a few I really don't like, and there's going to be a few I really do. So please don't take it personally if I disliked your favorite animatronic and liked your least favorite, because I'm sure at least one of you has bad taste. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching once again. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, you know, the jazz. And with that, everybody, remember, nobody outpixelates the pumpkin.